On today's show, we're going to talk about the Bucks' last two games against the Bulls at the top of the week, and then midweek they had the Raptors. We're also going to preview the NBA tournament game against the Hornets. Let's get this thing started.
Lillard, step back three, on the way, got it! Damian Lillard, welcome to the Cream City. Game time has arrived.
You're listening to the Milwaukee Bucks Beat, sponsored by Hungry Lion Productions Video Production Services. Video production from start to finish. Hire them today at hungrylionproductions.com. And now, here's your host, Michael Edwards.
Welcome to the Bucks Beat. I'm your host, Michael Edwards. And wow, what a matter of two games can make, right? So my last podcast, I felt like I had to kind of just calm y'all down out there. And not all of you. Some of you are logical out there, but some of you, I mean, I get it. It's emotional, but the Bucks have shown exactly what I was saying. And I'm not sitting here saying I'm right, but I wasn't wrong. So just kind of glossing over, Bucks play the Bulls on earlier in the week on Monday. The final score looked a little closer than what it really was, but the Bucks win that one. And you know, I hear all the national media talking about, oh, the Bucks aren't covering the spread, and and you know, all the analysts at ESPN are just drooling over the Celtics and the 76ers. And quite frankly, I think the Bucks start has actually taken some pressure off them, so it's not a bad thing. But the Bucks at home against Chicago take down the Bulls, and you got to say that there's a good chance the Bulls are probably going to be blowing this thing up pretty soon because they looked very dysfunctional out there. Giannis leads that game with 35 points. 5 players in double figures. Bobby Portis with 19 points off the bench. Man, love that dude. And then Dame kind of had a bad game against the Bulls. It's just an off night, and it's the NBA, and it's going to happen. Lopez with 11, Middleton with 13. So it was a good game. Bucks win that game. Not really much to talk about there. And let's move on to the Raptors game here, because I really want to get to the couple things here. I want to talk about the makeup of the Giannis Dame partnership and how that's going. And, you know, coming up, I'm going to have Dame talking about his thoughts on that. But before I get there, I want to unpack this Raptors game. I did have this one circled because the last time we played the Raptors at the beginning of the month, they stomped us 130 to 111. Man, the Bucks came out with a chip on their shoulder, and that's what you want to see. So no Giannis in this game. And Thanasis getting some big minutes. I mean, considering what he normally gets the last two games, he has 15 minutes in this one. He's a minus 13, but he's an energy guy, and you need to have that. So I think 15 minutes might have been a little too much for him, but it's nice seeing him out there. Marjan turns his ankle in this one, and it seems kind of like it's a day-to-day injury, which is a good thing. I was a little nervous at first, seeing him walk off the court there. But let's get to the headliners here. We'll start with Beasley. What a game. Plus 34. That's amazing. 76% from the field, 11 for 14. We need that energy in the playoffs. And we got him on the league minimum, by the way. So let's just give Horst the executive of the year. I mean, with all the moves he's made, just give him the damn trophy already, right? Beasley, 8 for 11, 73% from downtown. Man, 30 points. That is just wow. In games like this, I wish that somehow they'd have the players mic'd, because something was going on with the fans in the corner there talking to Beasley. And Beasley was giving it right back to them. And he was hitting shots, and he did not look like he was joking either. Like, dude meant business. And quite frankly, I wonder if the Bucks should just pay someone to talk shit to Beasley the whole game so it fires him up, because what a performance. We have 6 players in double figures. Leading the way is the man, Damian Lillard, 37 points. 50% from the field, 40% from threes. Free throws, one of the best in the league, 94%. And we're starting to see things come together now. Okay? It's only 2 games. And we have a tough game against the Hornets, which I'm going to preview in a second here. But don't we feel better? Like, let's just take a pause for a second. Don't we feel better after seeing these last two wins? Granted, when they lose that game to the Pacers, it hurts. And then they come back to the Magic and it hurts. You're wondering what the is going on, right? And hey, man, we're good. So speaking of that, we've got two top 75 players of all time on the same team. And post-game, Damian Lillard talked about his connection with Giannis.
I think also our personalities and what we ultimately want to accomplish, we know that it's going to take time to get to that point. And we just got to keep winning through that process. It's going to be some struggles, there's going to be some ups and downs, but my goal is to be the best complement to him.
And that is the best kind of mindset because they both have the same mindset. And one of the things I've noticed about this is Dame didn't want to step on Giannis's feet. And I mean this metaphorically. I don't mean this literally. But Dame didn't want to step on Giannis's feet, vice versa. Giannis didn't want to step on Dame's feet. So it almost felt like they were trying to play for each other without actually playing with each other. I don't know if that makes sense, but like they kind of hold them back, right? But then you see a couple of these games where Giannis just takes over and Dame kind of talks about the process.
Our commitment is over the long haul to try to build that chemistry and, work towards being the best version of ourselves as a unit, as a 1-2 punch. And it's going to get there, but it's going to take time.
That last phrase, Bucks fans, you got to do it. It's going to take time, but you're starting to see the fruits of the labor, okay? So now we turn our attention to the upcoming game. Today, Friday, November 17th. On the road, Bucks, Hornets. 6 o'clock Milwaukee time. Bucks come in at 7-4, and the Hornets come in at 3-7. Bucks are favorites in this one by 8, with a predicted score of 120 to 113, according to Dimmers.com. And they have a 73% chance of beating the Hornets, according to Predictive Analytics. For the Hornets, LaMelo Ball has been really consistent, averaging 22 a game and 9 assists per game. Miles Bridges is returning after a lengthy absence. Last year, he averaged 20 points a game, but we'll see how he is this year. For the Bucks, Giannis comes in, who missed the last game due to a strained calf. Leads the team with 29.5 points a game and just about 10 rebounds a game. Lillard and Beasley have stepped up, obviously, in his absence. I just talked about that. With Lillard averaging 24.3 and a team high of, call it 6 assists per game, and Beasley coming in with just over 10 points a game. And the Bucks have consistently had 5 players in double figures, sometimes 6, sometimes more. So we want to see that. I mean, on paper, the Bucks win this game, but games aren't played on paper. On paper, the Bucks should be undefeated, right? I mean, none of these matchups that they've had were like, if you just look on paper, the Bucks should be undefeated, and they're not. So obviously, games on paper don't matter. Injuries, though, might be a factor in this one. The Hornets have several players who their status is up in the air, including Terry Rozier, who's one of their team leaders, Gordon Hayward and Brandon Miller. And for the Bucks, Giannis is a game-time decision. So here's really the thing I think that is going to kind of determine this game. Now, this is one of those NBA in-season tournament games, right? So the Bucks just want to try to win all of these. I just think it's good experience for the young Bucks to have that, quote, playoff atmosphere feel. The Bucks rank 6th in offensive efficiency. And mind you, I feel like we're struggling too. I mean, I know you probably feel that too, right? I mean, because we've seen what this team can do in the past, and we have more weapons than ever. So Bucks rank 6th and 19th in defensive efficiency. So the Hornets, 22nd in offensive efficiency and 27th in defensive efficiency. So both teams have a fast tempo, with the Bucks being the 9th fastest and the Hornets being the 10th. So it'll be an up-tempo game, probably a track meet type game. Bucks have been turning it over a lot lately. If they can limit those turnovers and get solid possessions, I actually like when Giannis doesn't pull up and take the 3. I like it when you kind of can almost see the wheels turning in his head. He comes up to that line. You see his body language, like, no, I don't want to do this. And he kicks it out to someone. Like, I appreciate that. When he throws it up and it goes in, okay, great. But I think the other team would gladly take that all game if Giannis just kept putting it up. So once in a while, I think is okay. But yeah, so that's the preview. I think the Bucks should do good. I'm not going to make any predictions though, because I'm superstitious and I don't do such things. I just want to see the Bucks come out and play the way they have the last 2 games, and there shouldn't be a problem. I do want to see them turn it up on defense even more. There's still been a couple lapses, but overall, Obviously, when a team's shooting out the lights, that's obviously the big problem. And we haven't had to deal with that too much. So there it is. Another show in the can. And I'm promising you guys, we're eventually going to get a guest out here. I have a couple of candidates. And with the show being so new and me having probably... I mean, if you're listening, you're one of the OGs, because if the show ever really takes off, you can say I was there at the beginning. So that's it. We'll talk to you on the flip. Go Bucks. Thanks for listening. I appreciate you. We'll see you on the next one.